All right. Hey guys, welcome. It's Leon here and Dominic for another weekly episode here today. What we're gonna talk about today, Leon?
Yeah, just quickly to pick you guys up. Welcome again to this next episode. As some of you guys probably saw, we did a little Clubhouse talk yesterday. Today's Wednesday, the 10th of February, and yesterday on the 9th of February on Tuesday, we had a little conversation with a couple of friends of ours about the topic of financial freedom, what it means to them, what the worth and the value of money means to everyone individually. And that's also what we kind of, as a recap, and then also keeping this here as an episode, want to talk about today. Why don't you go ahead, Dami?
Yeah, exactly. So today, we want to analyze what financial freedom means for us, and like then we just dive in a little bit how we can get there, and then just what we get from that, like what's the goal or like how we benefit from financial freedom. And to start off, first, I would say financial freedom is kind of that you have enough financial reserves that, like, I would say personally that you can, like, every time you can choose whatever you want to do, and you don't rely on working before to get there to do that. Um, and it's kind of like freedom of movement, everything like that, I would say, or
Yeah, I mean, I think it's connected at the end of the day. Financial freedom, I think, is this overall topic that, of course, can come through, for example, passive income, meaning money that will come in without you always having to work for it. So, of course, that would not work with a 9 to 5 job where you would have to work every day of the week, I don't know, 8 to 9 hours per day. And I
exactly.
think then the financial freedom then means what you kind of can do if you have enough money and you don't have to worry about paying your bills. And on top of that, maybe you're also able to afford things that you've dreamed of. And I think that can be health wise, that can be traveling, and that's also, of course, can be materialistic things.
Yeah, exactly. It's just about being able to do what you want to do. And to
Yeah.
do so, there needs to be like infrastructure we need to build up, or you need to build up to get there. And it needs
Yeah.
to be somehow that you invest first. Is it real estate? Is it like stock market? Is it like knowledge for yourself? Like you learn something new.
Yeah.
And then from these investments, you will get a reward. And
Yeah.
maybe it's by rent you get for your real estate, stuff like that. And it's always it shows how important it is to invest in multiple sectors, like even in your like knowledge to grow, like that you get more skills, new skills to acquire new markets and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think then that again depends, as with everything in life, what you're kind of into and what you prefer. But I think in general, it is a good idea to kind of diversify the risk at what you invest in. And I think the main, I mean, of course, a passive income can also be a book that you wrote, or I don't know, a song that you produced or
Yeah,
something like that. I
it can
think the main,
literally be anything, man. It can be anything. It's just like you invest first, and then
yeah,
you try to gain later from that.
yeah,
And I think
exactly.
it's really important that you have like multiple things like that you're really good diversified. And also, what I think is really interesting, if you at that point and you gain something back from that, you really realize like that you have more free time and stuff like that. And I think that's the moment when people like really focus on the stuff they really want to do, because then they have all the time, all the resources, and they will just reinvest into one way, I would say. And
Yeah.
ideally, that one also gives them back something then.
I was just gonna say, if I may quickly jump in there, it's
Yeah,
also something we talked about yesterday. I think Rolf really nicely made that point, at which he said that you got to think about it. Of course, if you have that financial freedom, you will get up every day and you will be your own boss of your life, not only about what you do for work, but your life or your day in general. And then I think you got to ask yourself, okay, what am I going to do with all that time or freedom I have? Because of course, first of all, you're going to think about like relaxing and
yeah,
having everything in your own hands. But I think it's at a certain point, every person, some sooner, some later, will start thinking about giving something back even more.
exactly.
But and now that's the hot spot that Rolf yesterday mentioned, was that while you're already doing it, while you're already building up that financial freedom, why don't you start giving something back or helping other people getting where they want to go, or I don't know, helping them is specifically to get that financial freedom as you are working on your own financial freedom.
It's a really important point you mentioned there, and it's literally the basic principle I mentioned before. It's like what Rolf mentioned there. It's like he is reinvesting, he is giving something back, but he has like this growth mindset. So he knows whenever he's giving something back, like there will be some benefit for the whole economy, like for the whole civilization, for the whole economy or something like that. And
Yeah.
I think that's something like that's like the it's a different mindset, because it's
Yeah.
always about investing and then getting something back,
Yeah.
and
Sometimes even
not just
twice.
working like 9 to 5 or something like that. And just
Yeah.
it's also like if you go spiritual, it's like you give and give and give and give and then you get back. So kind of like that way, I would say it's like the
Yeah.
literally basic principle behind it there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also something we talked about. And then also you and me talked about originally that if you give something, you sometimes get it back, twice as hard, twice as good.
Yeah,
And I think that is also something, we're trying to do here with this podcast. I mean, we're just talking about experiences that we have here. And sometimes we invite, experts in their fields in order to give you guys, an inspiration to then support you on the way of doing what you guys want to do. And if
exactly, man.
we
And I
then,
think also just when we two are talking here or something like that, it's always just you see another perspective. You think like you always get something new and you grow, and we are investing time here now, but we know it's like benefiting us, it's benefiting all the guys out there. And
yeah,
that's like really, you need to reinvest. Don't save money, you won't get rich. I mean they print more, like it's getting worthless. Like you, even in the bank, you don't get how is it called, like the yearly thingies, the percentage point. You don't get anything. You have always need to reinvest, and the best thing is to pick real value and reinvest in real value.
well, I wouldn't say don't save at all, but I would say save money with a system in order to then, first of all, know where your money goes. And then
Exactly.
also, if you want to invest, that you can make sure you have enough capital, because as I think a lot of people know that deal with that kind of thing, you somehow need financial knowledge. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
also talked about with Anya in that podcast. And if you don't have that, you got to get it from somewhere, because if you don't
yeah,
have that financial knowledge,
yeah, sure,
you don't
sure.
have the mindset.
But
And if with the
that's
mindset,
the point. Reinvest, and then you reinvest into more knowledge, into more things like that. And surely you have to keep some money. You don't want to be broke as shit like that. But always reinvest into something that really benefits you. And
yeah,
don't be scared of investing, even if it's time, even whatever it is. Do it, like kind of do the step. Because like for example, like the stock market, basic principle. Like I've got so many friends, like even myself, we were like scared as hell to put money in. You could lose something, like stuff like that. And then you maybe just get started. Even if you lose something, you learn something.
yeah,
Everything
especially
just
if
adds
you
up.
if
And
you
then
fail.
if you're like committed to like one topic, like
Mhm.
you just reinvest all of it, all your time, all your resources, all your money. It's, I think that also one problem is like people, they always see money like as money, like that you get rich and shit like that. But you have to really watch what's behind the money, and that's like giving value. And if you don't save that money but rather buy something with it where you can give value to people or even to yourself, from there there's growth, not in saving.
Yeah,
You kind of
yeah,
get my point.
yeah. No, no. What I was trying to say was that you should save money with the system, as I said, first of all, in order to know where your money goes, and then in order to always have this one pot that you can take money from in order to invest it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, especially for people that just spend money without thinking about it, that is really important, because that supports your mindset. And Anya always made that nice example. If you have this guy that makes 1 million a year, but he spends 1 million a year, this guy is as rich as someone that gets money from the government because he doesn't have a job and spends it all.
Exactly. But I think like the big problem there is like he is reinvesting his money into the wrong things. Like he is buying new stuff with the money, like he's spending all of it, but he's buying like the wrong things. He's not looking into growth. He's not looking into anything like that.
Yeah.
And maybe if you go first and if you reinvest everything, literally, no, should like the savings, always keep the savings and everything. But if you reinvest everything you have and you're not fancy, you don't go into holiday, you don't do shit, but you gain all this knowledge and you gain like this kind of start pack from where you can gain more later on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like building up the infrastructure. Is it like gaining knowledge about the stock market? Maybe you gain knowledge in like coaching, like whatever it is, you just get like more skills or maybe like more resources if you want to build like, for example, chairs, whatever, you know. And by that, you take your money, put it into real value. Then by doing something, you even increase the value and then you give it to other people.
Yeah.
Like that's really like a principle. We don't need to see the money as like something that's in our bank account and we can spend it on something we want to please ourselves or something like that. That's sure, it's nice. And sometimes we should think like that, but we should really way more think about how can we create value with this money which is sitting here now. That's I think like really important part. And know what you buy. Is it if you buy like whatever you buy, if it's like stock market, properties, like in business, you want to buy your old business and want to reopen it or whatever. Know what you buy, and then I think we can go from there. Or
yeah, well, I think you mentioned a good point by talking about creating that value, and I think you should also be confident enough to say you're building up value for yourself, but also, of course, for others, because with more money, you have more power, but you also have more power of doing good.
sure.
You know, and I think money or more money just, Will Smith always said, if there was a guy, that was an asshole before, he's going to be a bigger asshole once he's rich. And the person that is a good person will be able to help more people once that person is rich.
Yeah. And you can just imagine if this guy is living in like a little village, he gets all this money and he just puts all the money back into this village. Like they will get like rich, all the people there will get rich, and then they will buy your fancy TVs you build and you profit in the end again. Like that's the mindset if you get a big picture. Like I think we sometimes we're like really like how is it called? We are like blocked in our like our perspective, which is like really subjective, and we need to be more like objective and see like the long-term bigger picture of reinvesting. That's my favorite word for today, I have to say.
Yeah.
Reinvest into value you trust, and if it's stock market, whatever. Maybe someday we can do like a special episode about like the stock market, like some tips or like basics.
Yeah,
would be nice to like just for the next weeks or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, and I think also another that I talked with, this is kind of a little ahead for next week, the episode we will have with Tim. I also talked about network marketing, which I think is also another form of passive income that if you have the right company working with you, even can do that for a little investment without that much capital. And then I think that is another option, to diversify that and also connect to other people. Because the thing is, what I want to point out from what you just said, investing, the worth or being rich isn't always defined by money itself, but also by the people the personal involvement you go through. And I think that is, for example, also part of networking in general. I mean, this is also what we do here with this podcast, because if you trust in the process, no matter what that process is, and you keep investing your energy, your time, and money, you will get something back without even knowing what it is, but it will benefit you on the way of where you want to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. It's also like bringing value, like network marketing. I think it's like bringing value to other people. Yeah. And it's like the main principle again we have behind it. I think to sum it up a little bit, that's like a really big main point, that we really need to generate like value for other people.
Yeah.
And that we really need to change our mindset about money.
Yeah.
and that we need to really go away from like the 9 to 5 job where you trade like your time against money, and you have
Yeah.
a fixed job, like fixed income and everything. Because like honestly, if you're employed, even if you get a fucking CEO of the company, it's always limited how much you can get. Like there might need to be more. There need to be different streams of income to be diversified, even if there's like a crisis coming, something like that, that you're not fully down, something like that. And yeah, is there anything else to sum it up? Like,
Yeah, I just quickly wanted to get in what you just said about the 9 to 5.
yeah,
I think we need to be really careful because there's a lot of people, which is totally fine, that need that 9 to 5 job, and they cannot be their own boss because that would be, I wouldn't say too much responsibility, but there's people that are
yeah,
leaders and
yeah,
that do their things for themselves, and then there's people that you know, they go into the office and say, "Hey boss, what can I do for you?" And
yeah,
once they accomplish that assignment, they're happy. But at a certain point, that person is also going to get to a point where they're going to say, man, maybe I want a little more control of my life.
sure,
And then
sure.
they can still use that 9 to 5 job as a stable income. But what they should do at the same time, in my opinion, is look for something to build up on the side.
Multiple streams of income. Awesome, awesome. Sure.
Exactly.
Like, don't get me wrong on the 9 to 5 job, what I mentioned before. Sure, it's like, it's nothing
No,
bad.
I know what you mean. I
It's
just wanted
super
to put it
perfect.
out.
Like, we need something to grow from. But I would
Yep.
say, with just a, sure, if you love your 9 to 5 job, if it's giving you enough money and everything, and you're super happy, and money's not everything, sure, totally fine. Just live your life in peace and happiness and everything. But if you like kind of really look for achieving something like financially, something like that, I think it's really important to, like you mentioned, like for the beginning it's okay, but like at some point you want to get out because you realize you're limited and you want to do more. And I
Yeah.
think it's really important to do that step then. And because like at the moment where you accept like a paycheck, you're literally kind of already giving up and you're not trying your other way. And I think it's really important that you, even if you get this paycheck already, that you're not scared, too much scared, and that you step
Yeah.
out of this comfort zone and really like invest in something new and
Yeah.
try to grow.
And
Like,
I think those are the three things I think we can end this
yeah,
episode on, which is first of all, to be honest with yourself.
sure, always.
If you want that, you will have to do that and stick with it and be confident that you can do it. Then honestly look for something that you can do that with, no matter what it is, and also get the knowledge. And then again, be honest with yourself if you don't have it yourself, but you need someone else to get it from and to support you on the way. And that is not a bad thing. That is how we grow. That's what we do here,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
definitely really basic. Like this one, what you mentioned, that's like basic for everything, I think. And
yeah,
then for like adding like two or three things I want to add for financial freedom is that you really need to get this mindset of how to use money, how to provide new value with money, and how to look onto long-term goals first and don't please yourself with the money, rather save something and then reinvest. And
yeah,
then the next part, like the last step would be it's like multiple streams of income, that you like
yeah,
more secure and that you kind of like more diversified and stuff like that.
yeah. And I think that is multiple streams of income in order to be safe or to have your risks diversified is more current than ever, because now we see how fast people can lose their job and then just be screwed because
Yeah,
there's no other form of income.
like with the corona crisis, like you saw, like if you're just in one sector, it could be, maybe it's the sector which is growing the most and you're like the winner, but maybe it's not that one and you just fucked. And then you see like you need to be diversified and stuff like that. But I think like multiple streams, I think like it's such a big topic and we could literally have like a whole another hour talking about it. But I think it's really nice to get like the principles here. And yeah, it would be
Yep.
amazing if you guys can tell us what you think about the principles. Maybe there's something you want to add up or want to have a discussion about.
Yeah.
And I
Also,
think for today, I think we can sum it up here. Or
yeah. Yeah. I just quickly want to give that shout out to you guys to also let us know in the comments and Instagram any way you want to get in touch with us. what your experiences are with those. Of course, a lot of things are private, so only tell us what you want to tell us. Don't feel forced to do anything.
Sure,
But
sure.
it's also something that would be interesting for us to know. And then I think that we can do like maybe a series of episodes where we talk about multiple streams of income. That we do one episode for stocks, one for real estate, one for network
Yeah,
marketing, and so forth. All
definitely.
right, man.
And if we get all these ideas from you, like about like the topic of the video, we could also do it that you can kind of ask us questions, what we should talk about like in the video, like questions you have for us or something like that. Maybe we can do just like a little Instagram thing where you can ask questions or something, and
Yeah,
then we
Instagram Live.
use this for the next Zoom call here, and then just talk about that stuff.
Sounds good, man. All right.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it was amazing. A lot of like free thoughts going here and there, but I think
Oh, but it was energy in the room. I
yeah, definitely
feel
some nice
good.
stuff, some really important points. And yeah, guys, let us grow from here, and yeah, till next time.
Peace out for today, guys.
See you, man.
Bye.